Hey guys, it's Shim Okimi and welcome back to my channel. This video, we'll be talking about the reason why your protective style may be itching. Let's just get right into this video. In order to find the best solution for your itchiness, it is important that you know what is causing it. I'm going to go through and explain the different reasons and you can see which one sounds more like you so that you can find the right solution. So the first thing that can be causing it is the actual hair itself. So with a lot of hair companies, they coat the hair with a preservative that is a known alkaline irritant, meaning that the stuff that they coat the hair with has a really high pH, and whenever it's placed against your scalp that has a lower pH, it irritates your scalp, which is why you're experiencing really bad burning, itching. Like, it's not normal. Some people are a lot more sensitive to this alkaline irritant than other people, so maybe your sister got the same hairstyle but she's not feeling the pain but you aren't. You're not crazy. It is normal. It happens to a lot of people. And what you need to do right now, if that's happening to you, is go and buy yourself some apple cider vinegar and soak your hair. It is a lot easier to just soak the hair in apple cider vinegar before you install it, and that always fixes the problem for a lot of people. But you're not gonna know that you are more sensitive to that stuff until it happens to you. So if this is the first time that it's happening to you, it's because of the hair that you're using. And if you already have the hair installed in your head and you just spent a bunch of money and don't want to take it out, you can still dip your hair in apple cider vinegar while it's still in your hair. Some people just spray apple cider vinegar in their hair, but if it's extremely burning and itching, I say the best solution is to just soak your braids. Get a bucket, fill it up with apple cider vinegar that is diluted, and just soak your head in that apple cider vinegar for like 10 minutes. Make sure that you get it into your scalp as well if you need to spray it to reach your scalp. And whenever you dip it in the bucket, you'll literally see stuff coming out. Like, there'll be clouds forming, which is the coating on the hair that is irritating your scalp. Some hair has more of the coating than others, so maybe you've been doing braids for a long time and this has never happened to you. It could just be because of the hair that you use for this specific install. So the solution: find yourself some apple cider vinegar, soak the hair, get rid of that coating so that it's no longer irritating your scalp. So now that's the reason why you could be experiencing itch if you just installed the braids and from day one you were feeling that irritation. You might also feel it along your body as well, anywhere that the hair touches. That's how you know that it's because of the braids. But for a lot of other people, honestly probably the majority of people, they start to feel the itch a little bit later on. The other reasons have to do with not the hair at all, and I'll go through them. So the first reason is because your scalp is dry. If you have chronically dry scalp, your scalp needs to be treated the same way as you would outside of the protective style. It's okay if your regimen for your hair changes, of course, because your hair is away, but the regimen for your scalp needs to stay pretty much the same if you have dry skin. As long as there's nothing heavy, do what you usually do to keep your scalp moisturized. But now if you're someone that has never really had an issue with dry scalp and it's only becoming more apparent now that your scalp is more exposed to the environment and the weather, if that is you, what you can do is implement new things to care for your scalp, specifically whenever your scalp becomes more exposed in your protective style. That can be through any oil of your choice, like some type of light oil, or using grease. I know a lot of people use grease, and the way to go about using grease is to spritz your scalp first with water so that you put moisture into your scalp, and then to just put grease on top of it to lock that moisture in. I know that works really well for a lot of people. It doesn't cause buildup. So that, or your favorite oil, make sure that it is light though, because the heavier that it is, that can also lead to more problems, which I'll get into the next category. So that's the second reason. Now the third reason why you are experiencing itch is because probably a bigger reason than the second reason, but it is because of what is the most common cause of dandruff, which is a fungus that naturally lives in our scalp, but like half of the world's population has a negative reaction to it, producing flaking. Some people produce flaking very easily, very quickly, whereas some people it takes them a few weeks and other people never see it. So that's why some people can go a month without ever seeing any flakes caused by this, whereas some people after 1 or 2 days they're already seeing a lot of flaking. But there are some people that you won't really ever notice until you go like over 2 or 3 weeks before washing your hair, and then you'll start to see more of those dandruff flakes that naturally have always been producing, but now you're just never washing them out. So you see more of them start to build up, which is leading to itching for you. You'll know that this problem is different from the second problem that I discussed earlier, because the flakes that you would see from dry scalp are smaller, finer pieces, and your scalp physically feels dry. But the flakes that you would see from this problem that I'm speaking of now are usually larger and more yellow. If your scalp feels oily to the touch, then you automatically will know that it is most likely this problem. But it is possible to have dry scalp and this problem at the same time. If your scalp feels dry and you moisturize it, but you still feel the itchiness, it's likely that you have this other problem as well. And in that case, you can treat both problems at the same time with some of the products that I'm about to talk about now. The most common approach to this problem traditionally is anti-dandruff shampoos. If you're someone that you don't really have that much of a problem, you're just seeing more because you're not washing out your hair as often, there are other less harsh approaches to solving this problem. First one that you've probably heard of is tea tree oil. So this is an essential oil, all natural, which is why a lot of people like it. But what's special about this oil is that it has antimicrobial properties, which means it basically targets this yeast and can kill it. And one great added benefit of tea tree oil is that it is a antimicrobial that comes in oil form, so it can also help treat dryness. So if you're suffering from both dryness and this reaction to the yeast that lives in our scalp, you can use this oil to treat both. Another one that maybe you heard of is sulfur 8. So sulfur is another substance that also targets this yeast and prevents it from overproducing and causing problems with your hair. Now, that being said, those are all, tea tree oil and this sulfur 8 are all really good solutions without having to wash your hair, which is great for protective styling. But if you're seeing more itchiness, you can wash your hair to just remove the flakes that are starting to build up, and I have a tutorial on how to wash your hair. And for most people, that solves the problem instantly. And you can also use washing in combination with like sulfur 8 and tea tree oil if you're seeing this more regularly, or if you don't want to wash your hair, or if you have a protective style in that you can't wash. A really good solution is just using tea tree oil, using something like sulfur 8, something that has some type of antimicrobial properties in it to help target this yeast, because like I said, this yeast is the problem. This yeast is what's causing the itching. And that also brings us to today's sponsor, which is Asation, a Black-owned hair care company that has an entire line dedicated to taking care of your hair in protective styles. They have their Naked X line, which was specifically formulated to provide an antibacterial system for itch. So they disinfect and they help with like odor and refresh your hair, which is really cool. They have a lot of ingredients that I mentioned in this video in their products, like tea tree oil and things like that. And I tried out some of their products and really like the way that they feel. There's like peppermint and menthol in some of their products. Whenever you put it on your scalp, it feels like really refreshing, which I like. I would definitely recommend them as a good line for taking care of your hair and avoiding itch. Now on to the fourth reason as to why your hair could be itching in a protective style, which is because pretty much the opposite of the second reason, but because you have too much oil, too much moisture, too much stuff on your scalp, and that is causing irritation. Sometimes when we get into a protective style and we're trying to grow our hair, we want to start using all of these oils and all of these new remedies and start applying all of this new stuff into our scalp. But you have to be careful because you're probably not washing your scalp out as often, and if you're applying all of that stuff and just letting it sit there, is asking for your scalp to just react and start itching. And that is a big reason why a lot of people start seeing itch, because they're putting too much stuff in their hair without washing it out. So the solution to this would be to put less stuff in your hair. Focus on putting lighter stuff in your hair if you're going to put stuff in your hair. Or if you do plan on putting heavy stuff on your hair, wash more frequently or avoid using those things. A big factor that is kind of like a part B to all of this is this thing that is called contact dermatitis. There are certain things that certain people's scalp reacts to, especially if you're putting in a new oil that has fragrance and preservatives that you're not used to. Your scalp can react, and it reacts and creates flakes that look and mimic dandruff. So in this case, using anti-dandruff stuff and using stuff that targets this yeast, that won't help this problem, because the problem isn't attributed to this yeast. The problem is because of whatever you're putting in your hair that's causing your scalp to react. So be careful of putting new things into your hair. These reasons that I've listed are like 99% of the reason. There might be like 1% of the population that doesn't fall under these categories. Then I would recommend either just seeing a doctor or taking out the protective style. But most likely, very, very extremely likely, it is not some rare condition that you have. It is one of these things that I've listed. So I really hope this video helped you. I know that can be such an annoying thing to have to deal with, but that's why I really wanted to make this video. If this helped you, feel free to subscribe. I have grown my hair a lot using protective styles, and I try to make as many videos as I can on how to protective style properly and like actually grow your hair in protective style, so you can watch that after this. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching.